everyone. So I just wanted to start talking about my weight loss journey. Today is day 90, and I want to go over a couple of things that have really worked for me, some successes, some things that have been really challenging, and some things that have just been downright frustrating, and maybe something can help you out, and I hope you take something from this. So the first thing, I do want to have full disclosure here. I had started dieting January 1st. Now, obviously, this is not 90 days from January 1st. What's going on? Well, what happened after about 2.5 weeks, I just wasn't mentally there. I just was not prepared for dieting. I didn't have any goals in mind. I was wishy-washy. I was just failing. And I made the decision in the middle of January to start over. And I don't mean just try and diet again, I mean start over. So what I started doing is I just went back to eating like normal, and I took track of everything that I ate for about 3 weeks. I was keeping track of the calories, the type of food I was eating, what I was doing, and keeping track of my weight. I've actually been keeping track of my weight almost every single day since 2016. So I have a lot of data, and unfortunately a lot of that data is like me yo-yoing on weight, right? I'm not very good at keeping the weight off. And so I've had a lot of health issues, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about this weight loss. So I started again in the middle of February, knowing what my calories were and what I needed to hit to actually start losing weight. Question is, how much weight have I actually gone down on this diet 90 days in? Today I weighed in at 261.8 pounds, which puts me 28.2 pounds down. Here's a little infographic to show you that data. So if you're looking for an idea, you can go use a calculator, but for myself, I found that was not very accurate. I have to eat significantly less than what a calculator thinks because it doesn't know what I'm actually eating and what my body's used to. If you're looking for a place to start, that's what I would do. Just keep track of everything you eat, kind of get a baseline of your daily calories, and then reduce from there. And you don't need to go a crazy reduction, just a little bit. So the weight started coming off once I started doing that, and I hit a little bit of a plateau at around 280 pounds. So this is where the first change that I did that has worked out pretty well for me. I bought a step tracker. Now, I don't like wearing things on my wrist. It just drives me nuts. But I wanted to see kind of where I was at, and this thing also keeps track of my heart rate and sleep, which I was dealing with some CPAP issues, so I was hoping to get a rough idea what was going on at nighttime. And I started noticing my average steps were 2,200. So I work from home and I sit down. I'm an auditor, and that's what I do all day is just go through computer records and look for problems. So I don't get out and move a lot. So the first goal I set in February to March was I wanted to hit 6,500 steps. So this is where the second change came in. After lunch, during my lunch break, I would go with my dog and sometimes my wife and go for a walk. And just a 1 mile walk, nice easy pace. It's not too difficult. I'm not breathing hard. There's no impact on the joints or anything. Just an enjoyable walk, letting him sniff around, talking to my wife about projects, life, and things like that. It's actually kind of like a therapeutic process, and it's something that's very easy to stick to. All right, Dex, you go for a walk? You go for a walk? You gonna come? What? You don't want to go today? You coming or not? Sometimes your walking partner doesn't want to cooperate with your fitness goals. Oh, now you want to go? Okay, let's go, bud. So I was going for those 6,500 steps, and I did that for 2 months. And then this is where I started getting into what I call my internal struggle, right? So we all have things that we struggle with. For me, it's food. I love food. To me, food is what you do to have fun, right? You're getting with your friends, food. You're getting with your family, food. You had a bad day, food. And I love it. And I hate counting calories. So on the win side, I can eat the same thing every day if I like it. So I calculated my calories Monday through Friday to eat the same thing every single day. So I don't have to guess. Um, I eat the same thing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'm fine with it. And I don't have to calculate it, so it makes it very easy. But I wasn't doing that on the weekends. On Saturdays, what I was doing is I would skip breakfast, I would skip dinner, and then I'd have like a 3 hour block window where we could go do whatever we want. We'd go out to eat, and then we'd go see a movie. I'd be drinking a full pop. And then Sunday, I would kind of eat healthier, but I still wouldn't track it. And what was happening is I'd be losing weight through the week, and then I would gain it on the weekends and then lose again. But then I plateaued around 280 pounds. And I was stuck there for almost 3 weeks. I know sometimes on the graph it doesn't look like it, but that's what it felt like. I wasn't moving. I couldn't figure it out. And so I made the decision to start paying somebody, a coach, to look at what I was eating. And the reason that this worked for me is I don't like wasting money. I hate spending money, and it was a good amount of money. And so now I'm sending this person everything that I eat Monday through Sunday, and I have to keep track of it on the weekend. And there is no way that I am going to waste my money and overeat on the weekends. So it's forced me to start counting calories, but it's super frustrating because, like Mother's Day, we wanted to go out to brain fart. We wanted to go out to Outback Steakhouse. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I can't have this steak. This is too many calories. And I can't have this side. Well, I really want a bloomin' onion, so I can have an eighth of a bloomin' onion. And it's kind of obnoxious. But what it's taught me to do is before I go out to some place to eat, I look up the menu and I calculate everything through the day. I go, okay, what do I have to do for my breakfast? What do I have to do for my dinner to be able to have this for lunch? And it keeps you on track. And then you can't just sit there and just make bad decisions in the moment. Oh, I'll have some ice cream. I'll just compensate it. But then you didn't actually calculate it and you get stuck. So that was kind of an interesting thing that has been working for me now that I'm counting calories on the weekend. My weight's not jumping every weekend, which is pretty cool. Regarding the coaching, I'm actually eating the same calories with the coach that I was doing beforehand. And I had lost 20 pounds before I hired a coach. And I'm down roughly 10 pounds since hiring the coach. And the only really difference is the coach wanted me to up my carbs and lower my fats. So that took a little bit of adjusting for me. And I was really trying to get my fiber up. So some of the struggles that you might have is, trying to do too much stuff at once. So you notice I was talking about a little changes here and there. A lot of people go from, I love carbs, to let's try keto. And then either you don't stick to it or you rebound really hard because it's not really how you eat. So I'm eating basically the same stuff. I dropped chocolate. That was the first thing that I dropped. I used to have a bar of chocolate a night as kind of like my guilty pleasure. And the other thing that I have done since I was 19 years old, I used to drink a lot more, but I had 1 can or 1 bottle of pop per day at lunchtime. And that has been the hardest thing to give up. Like that is something that makes me feel good about my meals. I like to eat my meat and vegetables and stuff, and then I like something sweet, and I like it to be sugary. And diet stuff just does not taste good to me. It leaves a really bad aftertaste. It's not satisfying. So I spent about $60 and did a lot of research trying to find all sorts of different diet pops to try. I've tried some weird stuff, and let me tell you, almost all of it's disgusting. But I did finally find that I could do Cherry Coke Zero, which Diet Cherry Coke's better, but apparently they don't make it anymore. And it's not a great, like, it doesn't have that bad of an aftertaste. The cherry kind of masks it, but it's not as satisfying, but it's hitting the spot. Like, you gotta give up something. And I realized sugar from pop is something that I really should get rid of at this point because it's not helping me lose weight. It's not helping me lift. It's not really helping anything except for, mentally. So I have had no issues with hunger through this entire thing. Now I have had cravings. Like I said, I have a sweet tooth and I have this thing where, man, I want some ice cream. I want a pop. And I'm fighting that with the diet. And what I found is, like, when I start sipping on the diet, it removes my desire for sugar because it's not hitting the spot, but it's sweet, and it kind of just shuts it off in my brain. I'm like, I don't even want to drink more of this. So kind of a hack that worked for me. I don't know if that works for anybody else. But I have not been hungry. My protein is at 220 to 225 grams a day. My carbs are 225 to 230 grams per day. And my fats, I'm shooting for somewhere between 55 and 60. And I can go a little bit above and beyond that. And obviously, there's certain things on the weekends where my protein's got to stay the same. That's the one thing, like that always has to be hit. And then the fat and carbs, I can kind of adjust. Like if I go to a movie, I'm gonna have butter on my popcorn. That really ups the fat, so I've got to lower the carbs, but I keep the protein the same. So that was a little bit of a struggle getting through all of that. And then when it came to food, I realized a couple of mistakes I was making. The first is I was not counting my oil that I was cooking in. So I was cooking in extra virgin olive oil, and I wasn't keeping track of any of those calories. And as soon as I did, I was like, oh, I've been missing about 300 calories a day from all these fats. And so I started keeping track of that. I started reducing the amount of oil that I use to cook. Well, my wife cooks the meals. I plan everything and she cooks it. And then I switched to avocado oil, which is basically the same profile. It just has a higher heating temperature. And instead of using a tablespoon, I'm using teaspoons. So just, like I said, small reductions. The flavor is still there. All the stuff that I enjoy is there, but it's less. With my protein shakes, I mix my own from a couple of different ingredients because I don't like having all the extra processed stuff. I switched from sugar to an allulose with monk fruit blend, which is actually pretty good. It's not as sweet as sugar, but it almost has the same taste, just a little bit less sweet. I think it's 70% of the sweetness of regular sugar. Now, to get into some really frustrating stuff, I have not seen a single difference. I started taking monthly pictures, and unfortunately I didn't take it right when I started. So my first picture was in March, and then I took April, May, and then I took a 2-week progress in May. And I can't notice any difference. My wife said maybe my head, like my scalp's a little bit tighter than it was. I think she's just saying I have a fat head. My belly, my chest and everything, it all looks the same. It doesn't feel the same, so I have entered, I call it the squishy fat stage, where it feels like all of my fat has kind of loosened up and it's really soft to the touch and it's drooping down, which is not a pleasant feeling. And then my arms have started to get smaller. So there's a lot of stages with fat loss. A lot of people think you can just target it. That's not how it works. And generally the rule is the first part of you that gained weight and put the fat on, that's the last to go. So if you want to get that belly off as a guy, generally that's the last thing to go. For me, that is not my purpose. I'm not in this to change my look, which I'll get into in just a second. But my clothes are fitting better. Well, my arms are getting smaller. And as a guy, when your stomach and your chest are still really fat and your arms start getting smaller, you're like, I look even less like I lift now. And I have to like get over that. Like, okay, yeah, nobody notices I'm losing weight. I can't see it. And it's kind of frustrating. You're like, man, I've almost lost 30 pounds. I should see something. And you just got to stick with it. Now, the one thing that I mentioned earlier where in January I didn't have the right mindset, that's something that I struggled with. And what I needed was just to have a goal. So I had made a deal with my son last year. He wanted to do Ninja Warrior, and I said, okay, well, if you can get yourself to where you can start doing pull-ups and you're practicing your pull-ups every day, once it gets warmer, I will start building you a course. And that is what I have done. And I knew that I was going to build this course for him because he had kept his part of the deal, and I wanted to be able to do it with him, right? I want to be able to do Ninja Warrior. And that's been the thing is like I had this in my head, okay, if I get to 265, I should be able to do a pull-up, and then I can start training that. and I probably need to be around 250 to be able to like start doing some of this more athletic stuff. And I hit 265. I mean, I don't know if it counts. The bar went to about here, so I'm saying it's pull up ish, but that's helped me keep on track, right? I'm not doing this to look better. I'm not even doing it to feel better. I'm doing it to hang out with my son and do an activity with him, which has really kept me motivated and kept me on track. And that's something I really encourage you to do. Just find something that is motivating to you, right? So if you have any questions about anything that I'm doing, you want to talk about diets, that kind of stuff, stay tuned. I will be posting more follow-ups. I'm planning on doing every 30 days. If you think it needs to be more often than that, let me know. Yeah, that's it for this video. Go lift something heavy, and if you are dieting, good luck.